Brother Chuck. Welcome to The Beat with Brother Chuck.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we spiritually deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our names, our language, our culture, our country, our God, and our religion.
Good afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day for those that are out there getting ready to celebrate. This is Brother Chuck on The Beat. We're here in the studio today with, well, first of all, let me say, I was going to have a guest, Dr. Bright, but something came up and she wasn't able to make it, but the cavalry came in. Today's topic is going to be PTSS. That stands for Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. So we're going to get right into it, but before we do, we're going to have a little commercial. I got to pay my bills. So we'll be right back.
Your money, what is it worth today? A $100 bill in 1913 is worth only $2 today. So now your money is just about worthless. And the Fed will keep printing more and more money. But what if you could turn it around, $1 at a time, and make your money worth more than it is now? How? By buying gold before your cash is worthless. But how can you afford gold at today's prices? Well, by buying 1 gram at a time. This is so important because gold is the future. For as little as $65 or 50 euros, you can trade in your almost worthless cash for something real, something you can hold. Carrot bars. Which keeps its value and can be stored securely and is easily accessible just like a savings account. But an account backed by your gold. Carrot Bars International, a savings account you can count on.
For more information, call 757-707-9731. That number again, 757-707-9731. Okay, we're back in the studio. Brother Chuck on The Beat. I came giving you what you need, so you'll learn to want what I have to give. We're in the studio with, we got Brother Davy Smith III, Brother William Goodman, and Brother Seko Varner. We come to bring the heat. We got on the beat. Come to bring the heat on the beat. We got a hot topic today. I mean, this is going to be fire. I don't know how hard we're going to come with it, but seriously speaking, this is a condition, I guess that's the word I can use, that those of us of African descent under former slavery and so forth. This is a generational thing that all of us, I guess they say it's a theory that we may be affected by. So we're going to talk about it, and we want to hear some feedback, okay? The number here at the studio is 757-624-1270. So who's going to kick it off? I guess that'd be you, Brother William. You got round one.
All right, round one. I say peace and greetings to all you listening audience there, Brother Chuck.
Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you.
It's good to be back on the beat.
Yes, sir. Good to have you.
Yes, sir. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, fortunately, is being talked about more, not only in the black community, but also in academic circles. We have a prominent doctor that's out there, Dr. Joy DeGruy, and she's been beating the streets, hitting hard, highlighting post-traumatic slave syndrome. But if I would, I'd like to give a formal definition of what is PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome, if that's okay.
No, go ahead, please.
All right. PTSS is a theory that explains the etiology of many of the adaptive survival behaviors in the African American community throughout the United States and the diaspora. It is a condition that exists as a consequence of multi-generational oppression of Africans and their descendants, resulting from centuries of chattel slavery, a form of slavery which was predicated on the belief that African Americans were inherently genetically inferior to whites. This was then followed by institutionalized racism, which continues today, thus resulting in multi-generational trauma together with continued oppression and absence of opportunity to heal or access the benefits available in this society. And that's Dr. Joy DeGruy's formal definition of what post-traumatic slave syndrome is.
Okay, so I guess, man, I don't even know where to start here. How?
So much.
It's so much. It really is. Okay, so just to whet the people's appetite and give them a for instance, how is that manifested in us today?
It's manifested in many different ways. Number one is child rearing. We have parents who suffer some type of trauma, or themselves, or have heard of some type of trauma that's associated with some form of fear. So you teach your children to respect that hinders their growth and development in terms of how they interact with white people, how they see black people. This inferiority complex is passed down from generation to generation.
That listening to you talk, it kind of reminded me of stories that I read, researched, and the pictures that I would see of the slaves being beat by a slave master. I mean, the image that pops in my mind right now, you have one slave master beating one slave. There might have been 2 or 3 other whites there, but you see 20 to 40 blacks.
Yes, sir.
And they're traumatized.
That's right.
They outnumber them,
That's
but
right.
they're traumatized.
That's right.
So what you're saying, this is a condition caused by some kind of traumatic incidents that we've witnessed, but then too, just like during slavery, the mother would take the dominant role to protect her male child and her strong husband.
Sure, absolutely. And to give you another example, Brother Chuck, I have 3 sons, and my oldest son, a 13-year-old, we had to have an in-depth discussion on what happened in Ferguson.
I think that conversation has been going on a lot with many parents with their children.
Absolutely, because what these young people are witnessing is someone being murdered and someone not being held accountable.
Yes.
That creates a fear.
Fear, man.
That is trauma. And we've been experiencing that since 1492.
1492.
We've been dealing with that for
Little
centuries. Now, here we are in 2015. I still have to have this conversation with my son. He wasn't in Ferguson.
With a black president.
Yes, with a black president. He wasn't in Ferguson. He didn't experience that himself, but he felt traumatized. With the advent of YouTube, you can you can YouTube fights. You can actually see murders.
I know.
On YouTube.
I can't even look at that.
And these traumatic events have a profound effect on how our children grow and develop. And we're saying that this is a correlation to PTSS, or the development of some of the symptoms that's associated with PTSS. And one of those is fear, inferiority, not having a true center, meaning how do you see the world? Are you seeing the world from your perspective, or are you basing your judgments and decisions on some unfounded reality?
The dominant society.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned inferiority.
Yes, sir.
What are some other ways that the inferiority complex is manifested?
How we interact with each other, how we see each other as potential enemies, where we see maybe someone of a different race not as that could potentially harm us. And that's a part of being inferior, or this feeling inferior, where black people are feeling inferior to other black people.
You know, when I was coming up, that word brother meant something to me and to, the people that I grew up with. Nowadays, they have another term, and it's supposed to be a term of endearment, but
Right.
I don't see them acting dearly towards each other.
Absolutely not.
When you call somebody the N-word,
Right.
that just does not resonate the same as brother.
No.
But then, too, speaking truth to it, this is a different generation, because even the word brother doesn't hold the same weight that it did when I was coming up.
And that's a good point, Brother Chuck. And think about that. What we lack now is historical context. You don't find any other group of people using terms that have historically been used to denigrate a race as a term of endearment. You don't hear Jewish kids calling each other
Jaime,
or Jaime, or you don't see Hispanic kids call themselves Spicks.
Or white people calling themselves hunky. Yo, my hunky.
No, that
that's
doesn't
crazy.
happen.
That's crazy, man.
So, and we're saying this is all grouped in what we're calling PTSS.
That is
It's
crazy.
part of this syndrome that with the Emancipation Proclamation or the Civil Rights Act of 1965 did not or could not remove the psychological trauma, the identity crisis suffered through centuries of oppression.
I'm getting old.
Free and bound, Brother Chuck, because I like to make this point, because history does teach us that all Africans in America weren't enslaved.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
But society determined this is how we're going to govern our society, whether you were free or bound. So even if you were free, it still didn't remove the trauma that you experienced if you saw the brother hanging in Times Square for weeks on end. You were still impacted.
Still. That's right. That's right.
So we kind of lose sight of that.
I don't want to just have a show that we talk about everything wrong that's going on and not offer solutions. Some things I know there's not a quick solution to, but Brother Seko, what do you think we could start doing to correct this?
Well, one of the great things is we're having this conversation now, and people are looking at this syndrome
and trying to say, hey, is this a really great way of explaining our collective experience? And if it is a great way of defining our collective experience, then we'll find the pedagogy and the structural implementations and the process by which we can really change things. If it's not, and we're still discussing it, we may move closer to a better explanation to describe what happened. And the great thing about this syndrome that Dr. DeGroote developed, it's an explanatory theory. It's not a disorder. So when people...
Oh, it's not?
It's not a disorder. No.
Okay.
She just says it's an explanatory theory. It's not in the DSM-3. So we have a lot of doctors and clinicians who are not subscribing to it yet because it's not in the DSM-3. That's their Bible, if you will. That's the way of look. Their paradigm is looking through the DSM-3 and explaining things.
Okay.
All right. So clinically, it hasn't been fully accepted. But the sister did some good work, and she came up with a structural way of looking at things to say, why are people of African descent worldwide, not just here in America, worldwide, acting and behaving and having the same experiences? If I look at the blacks in Puerto Rico, and I look at the blacks in Cuba,
yes.
if I look at the blacks in Guatemala, and I look at the blacks in America, there are some similarities. There's some same things that are happening. But one of the things that needs to happen, to answer your question, is we need to start looking at what's happening worldwide and saying, wow, this is happening to you too? See, when people go into therapy groups, counseling groups, group therapy groups, they look at each other and say, you were abused too?
Yeah, right.
Oh, you have a problem with alcohol as well? Oh, you have a problem with narcotics as well? Okay, now let's look at something that can be done. First, you have to accept that we're all going through something similar,
right,
and that it's not just particular to us. It's not just particular to me. It's particular to you and what's happening in Puerto Rico, what's happening in Cuba, what's happening in Guatemala, what's happening in St. Louis, what's happening in Virginia Beach, what's happening in Norfolk, what's happening in Ferguson. We're all dealing with some of the same difficulties. So what has to happen is we need to start looking at things that will bring us together so we can realize this is happening. And so one of the things that's happening in the Hampton Roads area in the 757 to address that is one of the organizations I'm connected with, the Golden Fold Movement, is doing community movie nights. And these movies that we're watching, these movies that we're watching are allowing us to look at this thing globally.
Brother Seko, being that you mentioned that, why don't you give them, if you care to do so, your number on how they can get in touch with you concerning that?
Sure. The number to get in contact with us is 757-932-0177. Again, 757-932-0177. And this Wednesday at the Boys and Girls Club in Virginia Beach, Virginia, at 7 p.m., we're showing the movie 500 Years Later. And the movie 500 Years Later deals with, they went to 5 different continents, and they looked at about 20 different countries, and we looked at the similarities of the problem with HIV and AIDS, the problems with low economic situations, the problem with low academic expectations and production. The kids are failing. The problem with high crime, the problem with people of African descent wanting to change their looks to become more European. All right. So it goes through 20 different countries, 5 different continents, and then you can start to see that there are some similarities. Now, when you start seeing the similarities, you're going to start seeing the predominant beliefs that drive those problems. So now you can start saying, you know what? I do like when my wife's hair is nice and straight, but that doesn't mean she's not beautiful when her hair is back in its curly natural state.
Thank you for saying
all right,
curly.
see, the problem is we say, oh, your hair is jacked up.
Kinky.
Right, we say it's jacked up, but when it's pressed, it looks nice. The difference is when it's pressed, it's arranged. When our hair is arranged, no matter if it's pressed or if it's natural, when it's arranged, when it looks, arranged, it looks good. Women look good. So we just need to make sure we start telling our women, hey, you look great when your hair is arranged. When it's straight, it looks good. When it's natural, it looks good as long as it looks nice.
Okay.
Yeah, same way when you have a haircut, then like you and I are both balding. We're bald.
Well, I'm a little bit.
All right, yeah, you're a little more than me. You're more than me, bro. But at a certain point, when my hair grows back, and I'm not sure if yours does, but when my hair grows back, I need to get it edged up. I need to get it lined up, or it looks out of sort. Now, I'm keeping it natural, but when I get it edged up, I put it in order.
Okay.
And so we just need to tell our sisters, when your hair is in order, whether it's natural or whether it's permed, you look gorgeous.
And sisters, it's not permanent; it's temporary.
Well, yeah. We even that.
I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. But also keep in mind that white girls get perms. All right,
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't think that. I had a student the other day who said, Mr. Varner, you have some lotion? I said, yeah. So he started putting the lotion on. He says, yeah, man, my white friends don't have this problem. I said, they don't make lotion for black people. They make lotion for the American consumer.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what? I said, white people use lotion.
Yes, they
Look
do.
at every Lubriderm commercial. You rarely see a person of color.
That's right.
Moreover, you don't see any black people in those commercials except for a couple, and those sisters are normally banging. But normally, it's white people in those commercials. They use lotion too.
Right.
All right? Our skin may demonstrate the dryness a little quicker because of the hue, because of the melanin. The melanin is saying, hey, give me some hydration, Waterman. All right? So what we need to do is start looking at these films, reading these books, having these discussions, and then slowly changing our mindset so that we can remove the beliefs that help drive the systemic problems.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned books, because that's another thing I want to do on this program, is use this as a vehicle to cause our people to read. The number here to the studio, 757-624-1270. Want to hear from you all. Speaking of books, one of the books that I read years ago that it's a thin book for those of you all that don't like to do a lot of reading, but it's loaded with some powerful information, and I see my my brother Smith's picking it up right now. It's called The Browder File. Very powerful book. Okay, so anyway, my brother just stepped to the mic, and man, go ahead and speak power to it.
Peace. Oh man, this
You're gonna have to speak up. He
this
got one of them smooth, silky voices. You gotta watch this guy.
This topic and this subject here is man, it touched me to my heart, and I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
Man,
and
thank you
speak,
for coming
brother.
through. This is part of the cavalry I was telling you all about that came through for me.
Yes, it's post-traumatic slave disorder, man. These books here. The one you said from the Browder File.
Browder File.
And I was just skimming through it, and we talked about the children, and it talked about the programming with television, and people just don't understand how powerful that is.
Okay, hold on for a minute. Hold on. Because
Yes,
I'm going to let you do most of the talking, but I
Yes,
always like talking about this. Television, audience, say that word slow, okay? I'll say it with you. Tell-a-vision. And, back in the old days when I was growing up, not that I'm that old, but another word that used to be affixed to it was programming. Okay, what vision are they trying to show us? Understand that all of us are being socially engineered, some way, shape, or form. And what I mean by that in regular layman's terms, we're being brainwashed in some kind of way. The powers that be teach us who to like, what to dislike, so forth and so on. We have to be aware enough to know. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that nugget out there, but go ahead, brother.
And that brings to mind the power of television. It takes me back to the movie called The Network. It was made in 1976. I said that was a clue right there in the movie. When they made the movie, they had an agenda in the movie and what they wanted to do. And in that movie, and you can find this clip on YouTube, the clip of Walter Howell, whatever the guy's name was, but he was going off on the network, and he told the people, go to your God, go to your guru, and he said something so key that we won't do as a people. Go to yourself.
That's right.
So
I self, Lord and Master.
yes, sir, and that brings to mind and brings to heart Dr. Naeem Akbar, his book, The Knowledge of to Know Thyself.
Yeah.
And as you said, that other doctor, what's her name? I know who she is.
Which one?
Doctor that does the PTSS.
DeGruy.
Dr. DeGruy. And as I sit there and I was looking at some of her stuff, guess what she studied under?
Akbar?
Dr. Naeem Akbar.
Wasn't Dr. Naeem Akbar Didn't he?
He was a professor once at
Over at
Norfolk State
Norfolk State.
University. Yes,
That's
sir. They got him up out of there.
That's right. That's right.
And just notice, people, when you start to interfere with the powers that be, money, and it deals with the
That's what it all boils
psychology,
down to.
they're going to come after you. Just know that. When you become knowledgeable and they know you know what you know and you have the facts and you have the stuff to back it up, just like we said with these books, the Browder file, the one I'm looking at in my hand, Dr.
Browder.
Dr. Browder, Anthony
Browder.
Breaking the Curse of the Willie Litch Syndrome by Alvin Morrow.
We're going to do a show on that. I mean,
Yes, sir.
that's kind of.
It's
we got a call here. You on the line with Brother Chuck? Hello? Okay, I guess we lost that caller. Caller, please call back. Okay, yeah, you saying Anthony Browder?
Yes, sir. And as you touched on that book, and I just went back to get a little refresher for myself, and then they started talking about Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
How he was great. Man, how he was touching on stuff.
Man.
And then he kind of just lost his way.
He went all the way.
Because he got disconnected from the people.
He went all the way.
And he went all the way. And in the end, you kind of seen him kind of hint to it. And I remember something that Brother Dick Gregory said. Mm-hmm. He met with him the week before he passed.
Really?
And he said, they trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm. Who?
He said it. Dick Gregory. Michael Jackson and Dick Gregory. You know, Dick Gregory.
I know, but when Michael Jackson made that statement, who was he referring to? The they. Who are the they? And
only reason I can say the they is I guess that system that's in place. The powers that be. Because I don't know who they are.
You know, it's funny. We see this conversation is gravitating. It's taking its own form here. When I first thought about doing this, when they finally talked me into doing this, because of the subject matter that I had written in 4 notebooks over 30 years ago, I said, I wonder how long they're going to allow me to have this show, because I have to discuss what's in me for the liberation of our people. I mean, that's a serious subject, but I'm willing to do that. I'm not saying that nobody is doing it, but I haven't heard of anybody doing it like this in the 7 cities. So I wanted to be the one that did it. I mean, if somebody can do it better than me, go ahead, because I'm not that charismatic person. I'm not. So, you know, when I meet that person that has that sincere heart and love for our people that can do it better than me, come on. I don't mind. Seriously. I really don't. For the betterment of our people. All right, let me see so I don't mess this up.
And I commend you for that.
Thank you. This is Brother Chuck on the beat. May I help you?
Brother Chuck, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing my best. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Kenneth Miller, sir. I just want to say keep on doing what you're doing, brother.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Did you have a question or a comment or anything?
No, I've been listening to your show. You turned me on to your show last week, and listening to the young men that are on your show. And I just caught it within the last 5 minutes or so I'm catching up late. But it's young men like that you have on your show and yourself that are going to move this thing to the next level.
Well, that's what our prayers and hopes are, man, because we need help. We need help. We need brothers like you.
Well, I'll tell you something. All of us are trying. You gave me an opportunity last week, and I really appreciate allowing me to come on your show. And I'm still waiting for those brothers that called up and the sister that called up to give my phone number to call me. But
well, you know what? I'm
gonna
gonna call them and find out. I thought you would have heard from them by now. Because we don't want to pay each other lip service, man. We're about trying to do a work, okay? But sometimes it's like that, and you know that yourself. All you need is just a handful of doers, and we can move mountains, man. We can move mountains.
That's true. But I have a question for you. I want to know. I wonder who are the
Brother
they?
Kenneth, you're gonna have to speak up. You're fading out.
I'm sorry. Who are the they?
That's what we were just discussing. The they are the powers that be. Who are the powers that be?
We are the powers that be.
Okay.
See,
okay.
And I say that because
Bring it.
One by one, people have to take responsibility for who they are.
Brother Kenneth, you're fading out again.
I'm sorry.
That's
I said one by one, we have to take responsibility for who we are.
Yes, sir. For those of you that don't know, Brother Kenneth is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's the second in command of the 2nd Precinct in Virginia Beach. Is that correct?
I'm the night shift commander, sir.
Right, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
I had him on the show last week. We were talking about hands up, don't shoot versus what is known as black on black violence. Brother Kenneth, yeah, I really appreciate you. You're right. I like that. I like what you said. We are the they, and that's what we are trying to do is move in a concerted, collective effort, trying to connect with other people of our persuasion, to try to bring about some change. But change comes from us knowing, because if you don't know, go ahead, brother.
And you just hit it. We must first find out who we are.
There you
and
go.
that is key. And I commend you. It is up to us. We are the they. But at the same time, we don't have the economic structure. Collective economics, group economics, what Dr. Claude Anderson always preaches to me, the book Powernomics.
Ooh, y'all got to get that.
Powernomics, the book by Dr. Claude Anderson.
Listen to it on YouTube.
And when we can get that collective part, fix us first, then we can help everybody else. Let's fix us first. Because every other culture, every other origin, they guess what they do? They take care of their own.
They take care of their own.
What we need to do is fix ourselves. You're absolutely right. We are the they. And it's a process. Trust me. We're only 150 years removed from slavery. So we got to we think on that. Just marinate on that for a second. Think about that. So there's a lot of work to be done in so many sectors.
We just need more willing workers.
Yes, sir.
And really, we have to get the knowledge out there. I used to belong to this institution, and nobody came to me directly, but the phrase, "Oh yeah, he's got a lot of head knowledge," as if head knowledge is bad. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel got chosen because of their head knowledge.
Yes.
I don't want to be a dumb believer, okay? Knowledge is power. If it wasn't, why are you trying to go to school, okay? But when you combine knowledge along with spirituality, you got something there.
Yes.
Okay. Brother Kenneth, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am, sir.
Yes, so you have any other comments or questions or anything?
The last comment, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, brothers that are on your show. It is this type of information. Type of information that takes us to the next level.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And
God bless you all. God bless you all.
You too, and I still want to have you back on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All righty. All right. Wow. I like that. I like that. Please give us your calls. Give us your comments. 757-624-1270. Where did we leave off? We're talking about so many things.
We were actually on the books at that time. You
okay.
were talking about the books. And just to bring to mind, we all seen the clip. For those who haven't seen Hidden Colors 3, I advise you to get it. 1, 2, and 3 Hidden Colors. You can get that at Positive Vibes on military, right there on.
Get them plugs, man.
On any river road,
right,
you can go to the mall.
Yes, sir.
African Art, get it there.
The Conscious Planet.
The Conscious Planet. Man, you can order it online. Do what you got to do. Get it in your hands. Watch it with your family. And just talking about the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Think about this for a moment. Have you noticed every Grammy and award show has been moved to February? Have you noticed on the commercials how you used to see them celebrating Black History? It has not been done this year, 2015.
Wow, no, I haven't.
It has not been done. And that's the only kind of reason I actually watch TV, because I understand subliminal messages.
Wow.
Think about this for a second. You know the Tostitos commercial when they're doing the Catalina and the guys in his house and they say, "Oh, we love this restaurant."
I don't really watch TV that much.
Well, that one commercial they got, guess what they did subliminally?
What's that?
Guess who the help was? The black guy.
Of course, man.
So it was, to me, I caught it. It's not, and see how people say you could be a racist? No, I just know how to read between the lines.
Okay, you know what? you said a key word, and,
Yes,
and
sir.
again, this is all about education.
Yes.
Some may know it, some may not. But define what a racist is.
A racist is from what I heard, and I quote Dr. Claude Anderson, he said this: those that are in power, which is that 1%,
there you go,
and they control everything, are the racists because they get to set the rules.
That's right. So for you all that are listening out there, you being black, you cannot be a racist unless you're in a black neighborhood and a black gym and you're the only white person there, and you're in a racist environment. Then yeah, if everybody's against you. But we're talking about the power structure, okay?
Yes.
We cannot be. You can have certain prejudices, but you're not a racist because you ain't in no position of power to do anything but kill each other, and that's what we're trying to speak against. Okay, go ahead, brother.
And I love this topic. We're talking about it because
I do too.
I'm paying attention to the way hip hop is going.
Oh, come on.
And I noticed that some of these artists are now getting so to the point. It's a new generation. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. J. Cole. You notice how he's wearing his hair?
Again, that's something I don't even get.
Guess what he's wearing?
What?
It's curly, brother. What we talked about. It's natural. Guess who else doing the same thing? Kendrick Lamar. He's wearing his hair nappy, as they say, but it's curly. He's wearing it natural. I see the sisters going back to it.
Okay.
Do you understand the market now for hair is in trouble?
Yes, it is.
The sisters have made their mind up.
But now we have to make sure something doesn't happen. Two things. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know if it was on Facebook or while I was YouTubing. I saw some Caucasians braiding a sister's hair.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Okay, because the next thing we're going to see is hair braiding places with other people than us doing it. If we allow that to happen, shame on us.
And you hit on something there. When we went to the lecture that Dr. Umar Johnson had, we had at the Boys and Girls Club down at Virginia Beach last Sunday, he said something that was so key. We have to get our own vocations.
Absolutely.
We have to become the nail technicians. We already have the barbershops, but we have to become the nail technicians. Okay.
And the seller of black hair products.
Hello.
The Koreans got that market locked down.
Did Chris Rock not give us a hint of what?
Yes. Okay. The Vietnamese, the nail, they got that locked down. Now, here's where, man, you see the way this thing is gravitating. It's taking a life of its own. But it's still relevant. It's all relevant. What the Koreans have done, they've got the market so up that even when a African American tries to open up a hair store, because of the high overhead, the high percentage that they have to pay for the products, they have to mark their products up to make a living.
It's called a barrier of entry.
Barrier of entry.
Wow.
See, so brothers and sisters, we got to do better. We have to do better.
Yes.
You all have heard me say, since I've been on the air, we are all we have. This is not no hate talk. This is just about us loving each other, seeing the value in what we bring to the table. We have enough expertise to where we can do the same thing that's been done. When I think of integration, I am more of a Malcolm person than a Martin. Both of them were great men.
And that's all right.
I appreciate Martin Luther King, but that I have a dream speech. Dreaming is first cousins to death. And when you're in a dream state, you're sleeping. You're not doing anything. Okay, yeah, we have a black president now. Yeah, okay. It is what it is.
Yes.
But that integration hurt us. Prior to that, we had our businesses. We had hotels, laundromats, busing companies,
yes,
cab companies, banks, you name it, we had it. They may not, in comparison, have been as good as our counterparts, but we had them. And if we still had it, they would be as good or better today. But integration, we closed up everything we had because our opposites things looked better, and it hurt us.
And I just want to bounce off that, Brother Chuck. And do you realize after he gave I Have a Dream speech, Dr. King gave that speech, and you can find it on YouTube where he's talking to the reporter. He said, that was the worst thing I ever did.
You see? And I didn't know that.
He admitted it. He admitted that he felt he set the people back further than where we got to.
And see, brother, we need to somehow get that, and we need to really play it, because especially, the body of Christ, they still hold Martin in high esteem. I do too.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. But Malcolm preached, believed, and taught self-independent, doing for self.
Yes.
Okay? Us creating our own.
Yes.
That's what I'm about. Okay? That's what I'm about. That's what we need. All other cultures
Yes, sir.
come here to the Americas, not just the Americas, all over. And they make money off of us. We're the only race of people that allow another people that don't look anything like us to get wealthy. But when we go to their neighborhoods, we won't last, because you know why? They won't support us.
That's right. And just, again, to piggyback off what you say, with that note, us doing for self, remember the Tulsa, Oklahoma. People
Black Wall
forget.
Street.
Okay?
Some people don't even know, man.
People forget the Move 9, the 9 in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Come on, man. We were bombed by our own people. Our own country. I mean,
what was the other one?
the other one was Wilmington, North Carolina.
Rosewood.
And also Rosewood.
There's a history of this.
It repeats itself.
And it ties back in to our topic.
Yes.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes, sir.
Black Wall Street, for you all out there in the listening audience, go to YouTube. If you don't want to read it, there's little short segments on it. You need to know about this, about the history that we have in the Americas. But I really, even though it is relevant history, because you can wind up repeating things if you don't know your history.
Yes.
But I am more on the
don't know will hurt you.
yes, what you don't know will hurt you. I'm more on the level nowadays. I'm trying to take our history beyond the shores of America and go back to Africa, because let me say something. Well, I've been saying something.
Yes, sir.
But when you have a people that only know about their slave past, there's no dignity in that, man. There is no dignity. Okay, my ancestors come from slave. I heard that, yeah, we were once kings and queens, but we were stolen from Africa and we were slaves. And then we became sharecroppers, and then, we're here. But they never told you that our history predates any history on this planet.
Yes.
We were the first created. Whether you believe in God, aliens, or whatever, we were the first.
Yes.
We are the genuine sons and daughters of the Most High. That is a fact. That's not no fiction. That's not no storytell stuff. This is documented. You say, where is it documented? Look for it. It's out there. And you really don't even have to scratch the surface much. It's out there. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
And as you say, man, good God, where we going? Here we go.
I know,
yes,
man.
I'm loving this.
Soldier's gonna be fine.
And man, it's like, what do I say next? Because
say whatever's on your mind, brother.
it's so wide open to the point that, just think about this. Think about Dr. Michelle Alexander and the new Jim Crow. You put me in jail for drugs. Now you legalizing drugs.
Ooh.
Think on that for a minute, folks. You put me in jail for drugs, which is a system within itself. That's another form of slavery. That's why they got the law set in place. Think about what I just said. They say if you learn the rules, guess what you can do? I mean, there's a little saying out there, if you learn the rules, you can break them. And what you think they got laws for? Why you think they got rid of Latin and they used it in a court of law?
Why is that? Educate me.
If we don't know it, then what? You can't speak it. If you can't speak those terms.
Okay. I just learned something here.
You notice most lawyers know Latin.
I never paid that any attention.
Oh, by the way,
I got a family member now that's a lawyer. I need to talk to him.
Everyone that's listening, get a Black's Law Dictionary to have that in your family. I'm not saying you're an attorney. Get you an attorney.
Now that has to be up to the what? The 4th edition?
5th edition.
5th edition.
Fifth edition. I think it's all the way up probably to 8 now, but the 5th edition is the one I got.
Okay, black law, that has nothing to do with race.
Nothing to race. That's the name of the dictionary.
That's the dictionary that attorneys use.
Yes. You can look it up. You can find it on Amazon.
You gotta say stuff like that because people think we're just black. But
here's the thing though. Let me say this though. You know how people just say we think we black. Do you ever find any other culture, any other people, ethnic group apologizing for being Asian,
No.
apologizing for being white, apologizing for being let me just keep going. Just
And why should
European,
we have
British.
to?
So why should me and you have to apologize for being African? I
We
commend Marshawn Lynch for what he said. Guess me, I'm thankful. He did Muhammad Ali.
grateful.
People didn't even play it right. He did Muhammad Ali in the opposite.
Wow.
Think about that. Think on that,
uh-huh.
folks. He did Muhammad Ali in the opposite. Marshawn Lynch came out in his mouth and he said, "Shout out to the real Africans out there." He had the platform. He used it. He was talking.
There's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with that. So why should I feel bad for saying that?
Just like for me, coming from Brooklyn, I always wanted to do this. Big up to Brooklyn. I always wanted to do that, man. I have. I don't know why I never did it before.
Hey, it's funny you say that, right? Being on the radio, being on live radio, shout out to P-Town. You know, hey, just like that, it felt good. Hey, I did it now. I did history for myself, so I felt good about that.
And
But-
all my Nigerian family, big up.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Wow, man.
It's so much. Like you said, it is so
Man,
much.
look what time it is. We have really been, Brother William. You got anything else to say? I mean, we got 10 minutes, man. Let it rip, because you know, again, I know we've talked. We've taken a little bit of detours, but as you said, Brother William, it's still relevant.
It's all relevant.
It's still relevant. So, for those listening, again, I think I asked it before, but let's revisit it. What can we do to... You've already pointed out how to identify the syndrome, this traumatic slave syndrome. What can we do for those that the light bulb just went off and say, wow, this is why I act the way I act, I do what I'm doing? What can we do to help the healing? Okay, looks like we got a caller here. Brother Chuck with the beat.
Well, hello, Chuck. This is Georgia. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. Georgia. Georgia.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I am wonderful. I just thought I'd call in.
This is Georgia
I've
Allen.
heard that,
This is
that
Georgia
app
Allen,
so
the
many
former...
times.
I'm sorry. I was just introducing you, Georgia. This is Georgia Allen. Are you still the president of the NAACP?
No, I stepped down as president, but I still serve in capacity of the executive committee.
And she is seriously a servant. Well, anyway, go ahead, Georgia. You had a question, a comment?
Well, just a comment. I continue to hear the ask, about what are we going to do, what can we do, etc. It's just get busy. I mean, as you know, I own my own business, and many of us own our own business. But we talk about supporting each other's businesses, but when the rubber meets the road, we turn around and we do something else. I just talked to a young lady today that I had, met with, spoke to about, the services that I provide. So then I talked to her today, and she told me, just recently I went and had my debt consolidation loan. I said, well, you didn't pick up the phone and call me.
Well, Georgia, since
you didn't pick up the phone and call me.
That's right.
Okay, to see what services I can provide.
Okay, so what is your services and what's your number so people can call you? I like the way you did that, but you're my sister. That's okay.
Right.
Right. So when we keep doing this stuff, we're never going to move, from point A to point B is basically what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
But I mean, so we know what to do. We just have not been doing it.
What you're saying is so powerful. I've had this discussion with Brother William a couple of times, especially those in we call it the conscious community, but what I mean, black conscious community. We understand our dilemma. Historically, what we're going through now, and if we don't get it together, what's going to happen to us in the future. We can analyze the past to kind of predict the future. We are trying to figure out, those of us that know the game that's been played on us. It's not a game, it's a war that has been declared on us. And we still don't work together. So,
Exactly.
This is a show that, I mean, I'm trying to do a lot, and eventually, an hour is really not long enough. An hour is almost gone right now.
But I agree with the sister, bro, Chuck. She said it best, man. Get busy. You know, I love the line in Shawshank Redemption, man. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Woo.
And that's kind of where we are. And like the sister was saying, supporting black businesses is what do we do now is part of it. Like the brother here, he has his library, his walking library. You visit your local black bookstore. That's where you start. Yes. We know that there is a problem and there are solutions. But like the sister was saying, we just have to get busy doing them, get busy applying them, and just dealing with wherever we are. You know, we have a tendency to look at the end game. Play your part. It's your move. One move at a time. This is a chess game.
Right.
Make one move at a time.
You know,
Absolutely.
if I can throw something in here, I was approached by a young person last week who, because of the knowledge that he had gained and what he learned about religion and so forth, he left his church. And now I know there's mixed feelings about that. I'm one that says, why leave your church? Enlighten those that are in it. Okay? Okay, you leave. I said, why leave your church? Just stay there and enlighten those that are in it. Don't challenge them, because then they'll shut down on you. But you present them with information that they have to read themselves. Once they read it, then it's up to them to do with what they want. Right. But once it's there, it's there.
And then be the example, bro. Chuck.
And be the example. Be the example. But don't leave the church, because I believe, and again, everybody doesn't share the same thought. I believe that the church is still the strongest institution within the black community. True. Okay? And but they're going through their changes right now, their struggles and so forth. And those of us that are out here in the streets that are conscious and doing things, they could use that knowledge, and you could use that spirituality. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
so,
and I agree with you too, Brother Chuck. Like I say, man, it's just about getting busy. Like I say, some of the problems that we do have in the conscious community, we find ways to divide each other. We find reasons why not to work with each other. And if we just change that paradigm, change our perspective, and focus on what we can get along with, what can we do together?
The common enemy is ignorance.
Yeah, exactly.
So we identify that, and let's agree to work together to combat it.
You still be who you are, still be who I am, but we can find some common ground.
You know what? We have to.
That's right.
Here I go again. We are all we have. Our race is on life support. You can look and see the conditions of our young people. They need direction. Brother William mentioned about, or was it you, Brother Smith, mentioned about music, the hip-hop. Oh, man. I don't know the person that made this statement, but they said if you want to check out the moral barometer of a nation, just look at the music, the popular music of the day. Looking and listening to the popular music of the day, mainly we're concerned with is hip-hop. What is that telling us?
Yeah, and I understand that completely.
My God.
And I consider myself to be a hip-hop head.
Well, I'm old school, man.
Yes,
My number one MC.
I love hip-hop.
Let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think is the greatest MC of all time?
KRS-One.
That's my man. That's what I'm talking about.
Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone.
All right.
And I subscribe to the most deaf philosophy.
Yeah.
You know, hip hop is going wherever we're going.
That's right.
That's what he said.
Yes.
That's right.
Hip hop is going wherever we're going. So if we want hip hop to change, then we have to change.
So do you?
Because hip hop is a reflection, like you just said.
They are a reflection, and you know what? They're on the front line. They could change.
They can absolutely.
They can change the mindset of our young people just like that.
No question about it.
Just like that.
And part of that reason, Brother Chuck, is so many of our young people are suffering with identity crisis. So with that music, they can play it in their ear over and over and get a sense of direction. They can answer questions that they're afraid to ask other people. They can get some idea of how do I handle this conflict. So, hip hop, that's one of the reasons why hip hop is so powerful, because it does provide young people, whether it be good or bad, right or wrong, some answers to some questions that they have.
Okay, well, we're 6 o'clock already, man. This time has really gone by fast. So anyway, we're gonna sign off. Thank everybody. Thank my guest. Wow, for coming through for me. You and the listening audience, I hope and pray that you learned some things. Hopefully we did not offend anybody. That, of course, was not our means to do so. But, it's all medicine. Some medicine may not taste good, but it's good for you.
That's right.
This is Brother Chuck with The Beat. Come giving you what you need so you'll learn to want what I have to give. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to The Beat, aired every Saturday from 5 until 6. Until next week, have a blessed week.